Hey everybody, my name's Cody. I recently got a app working with JavaScript, Swift, and Objective-C using React Native. So I think, yeah, I use CocoaPods too. It was really intense on like getting the event part to work to where the native module, like the Swift class, could call JavaScript independently of any JavaScript methods. So like whenever I wanted to call some of my JavaScript stuff that was written in my React Native modules, I wanted to be able to do that. So I ran into some problems there, and so there is a solution I did, and here is the tutorial about it. What I'm going to try to do is actually create a app from scratch for you, so you can see exactly how it's done, because there's not a whole lot of resources for it. So hopefully this will help y'all. Let's call this event send. Okay, let's see. Send event to JavaScript. How about that? Okay, so this is using the Create React Native app. That's available on the React Native blogs if you want to figure out how to actually set that up and configure it. I'm really not going to spend too much time in the JavaScript side. I really am a JavaScript programmer, but I had to figure these other things out that are scary, like the Swift modules and the bridging Swift with Objective-C. That was pretty it wasn't too bad, but definitely different than what JavaScript is. What I'm going to do is pause this video and then I can come back to it. Okay, so that is done installing. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just eject it. Just because I'm going to have to, oh yeah, whoops. I don't even remember what the project was called. Send event to. Okay, so I'm just basically what this is doing is getting it away from the Create React Native app type of environment, and it's just giving me a usual typical React Native application, like see, so it gives like the iOS folder and stuff. So I don't know if you're a visual learner or you like to see it from the commands line, but yeah, here we are. So it's got the iOS folder and the Android folder. I'm just gonna focus on iOS today. Android, I'm gonna have to figure that out later. So here we are. We can just go ahead and open this Xcode project. If you want to use the command line only, you can do like open iOS / send, something like that. I think that would open it if you enter that command. And so now we're here. I've already got my iPhone 6 simulator booted up. I would be using iPhone 7, but it just started the iPhone 6. So I change it to the iPhone 6 so it doesn't relaunch another instance of the simulator. Anyway, so now what we want to do is we want to create a workspace. Let's see. I think this is good to do regardless, so I'm just going to do this step and create a workspace. there. Let's go. So I saved that at the same level as the Xcode project. So see, here it is, the same level. So now close, like I just did, close that Xcode project, and then drag the, so I'm going to close this just to make sure you understand. So there's no Xcode projects open. You can have problems if you don't do it like this. So I'm just going to do it like this. So you open up the Xcode workspace, and then you just drag and drop this Xcode project over. And then, so that basically linked this Xcode project to the workspace. So there we are. And let's see. So here's all the React modules and stuff. So like here is the event emitter. And here's the header for it. Anyway, so we don't have to really look at that. We can come over here to the app delegate.yum. So you can look up guides online to actually convert these .h's to Swift files, but we don't really need to do that. Let's just build it and make sure everything runs. Oh yeah, this will probably fail. Yeah, so sometimes this error comes up. Close out of it. Okay, so this is kind of overwhelming sometimes, so just breathe, look at the errors, read them, get through it. So one thing to do, that if you read the documentation for the create React Native app, it'll tell you to actually remove this node module folder and reinstall it. So I'm going to do that. You have to do the RF because it is saying recursive and force it, because it's a folder, recursively delete all of the files underneath the folder, and I don't remember what the F is, just force the delete of the file, I think. See, this guy is running an iPhone 7 Plus. Whoops. I didn't even pay attention. Bigger than the iPhone 6, I guess. Alright, so I'm just going to pause this and I will come back to it when it is done. Okay, so now what we can do is do the npm install, get that started. Okay, so that's done installing the npm packages. So now we can do npm run start, and this will be equivalent to running that React Native start command that you see there. I think it's less keystrokes. I counted it one day. It's kind of funny that you have to do that, but you don't have to. That's what I do. So it's starting that the packager, and so this hopefully will resolve this no bundle URL present. That is set up right here. See this NS URL? That bundle URL is pretty much this thing, this JS code location. And see that bundle URL? So this is basically bundling everything, and it's creating this, let's go back one folder, this index.ios.js folder. So now we can reload it. Let's see what's going on now. Okay, so I'm just gonna run it again. Sometimes it's weird. So, I mean, I paused it for just a second, but it's loading fine. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So yeah, that error literally I just reran the Xcode play button. That happens sometimes. So don't be discouraged. Just kind of press through when issues like that happen. Okay, so here this is, and so now what we want to do is we want to send an event over to our JavaScript methods. So let's create a new file. So we're going to start getting into the Swift stuff. So let's create a Swift file. And I'm going to actually create it inside of this, see this iOS folder? I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to go inside of this folder and keep it on the same level as these app delegates in the main.yum. And I'm going to keep the default stuff the same, and then make sure to create this bridging header. This is super important. If you mess up on this step, I want to kind of try to share some of my knowledge, the little knowledge I have, so I can't really. Okay, so this is called send event to JavaScript dash bridging dash header.h. You click on this, your project here, and then I think header. Make sure that this is not basic. Make sure this is set to all. Header search. It's bridging header. So this Objective-C bridging header should be set, I think. So we might have to come back to. Oh, here it is. Okay. So see this targets. This target right here is actually basically what this thing is making, is that it's making this target, and this bridging header just got imported. And this bridging header, what it's doing is it's allowing the Swift files to be, okay, so I'm going to delete this because I want to rename that. So move to trash. You don't have to do this, just make sure you name the file correctly, but the important part is that bridging header gets created and then it gets set inside of this. When I clicked on this project thing, and then it showed that it was in the Objective-C bridging header. That's the important part, that file gets created. Mess up on that part, but we'll see about fixing that. Let's see. Hey. Okay, and then create it. I always mess up on this, so sorry guys. Let's gal. Okay, so just to speed this video up, I went ahead and wrote this code out, and now I'm just recording over it. I'm going to talk about it. So let's just act like that there's no code on this page, and we're starting right here. Okay, imagine this is the first line of code I'm writing, and I'm going down. So this class right here, it's just a Swift class. That's great. We want to use a Swift class, and it's going to inherit from NSObject. Now, what you'll see on the reactnative docs, the new ones, is it'll say RCT event emitter, and you should be able to inherit from that. And at that point, you would say self.send event with name, and you could type your name and your body with your data. I could not get that to work, so I had to do my own solution, which I'm about to show you right now. So what this does is it makes a Swift class and just instantiates it, and then this does not instantiate it, sorry, but it lets it inherit it from an NSObject. And then this part just allows Objective-C to be able to see the Swift class. This allows Objective-C to be able to see the this Swift function. Okay, now what we want to happen is this class needs to be able to call the event um, to send an event to JavaScript whenever it wants to. The way that I did this was this right here, this JS bridge part. And so what actually happens is I use this JS bridge event dispatcher to actually send the event to my app. Now, I do want to say it is deprecated. I could not get the subclassing of the RCT event emitter to work. Every time in my use cases I tried to call it, it would be set when you call the methods when you read the React docs. This JS bridge part would actually be underscore bridge if you want to be technical. You could look, like I'll show you right here, just real quick, and then I'll get back to talking about it. See this thing? This would always be set to null, to nil, or whatever, and so this error would be thrown, so it wouldn't work. So I had to do it this way. So hopefully this video will help you. So how I did it is I did this public bridge helper. And the way to do that is I came over here to the appdelegate.yum and I actually did an implementation. So this is an Objective-C implementation class. So this is Objective-C code right here. So what I did is I declared our RCT bridge type, and then I made this pretty much global to this section of code, this file variable, and then I made this class public bridge helper, and then I made a method off of it called getBridge, which returns a bridge type. So basically this class is simply to allow access to this. It just simply returns this. What is this? RN bridge? Well, it's the React native bridge, and it's actually created and set, or it's not created, it's set here. So this is where your code location is. This is where React native creates the view for your React native views, and when this happens, when this gets instantiated and created in Objective-C, this root view actually has a bridge on it which allows us to talk to the JavaScript, or at least send events to the JavaScript. So I just set it here, and up here this is exposed, and then this just returns this. Now this is public, and how does Swift call this class? Well, you go to this .h file. You also have to do the interface part to it, just to say that this is a method off of it. And then, so this is a .h file that this interface is defined in. So what you can do now that this is defined is you can go to this, your bridging header.h file, and import your appdelegate.h, or if you want to separate this out and create a .yum file of its own called public bridge header, and then create a .h file called public bridge header.h, and this would be public bridge header.yum. You could do that, but when you import it, you would import the public bridge header.yum file here. So it'd work if you're creating those new files. Otherwise, you can just do it like this. So that exposes the bridge, and what's so significant about that? Well, this is exposed to Swift, so Swift can actually create an instance of it, and then what you can do is every time you need to send an event to JavaScript, you can just use that instance to get a reference to the bridge, and then use the event dispatcher to send the event to JavaScript. Now, what I do want to mention is let's go to native modules. I do actually want to mention on the on the on the JavaScript side. It's gonna look like that. Let's see. I can show you the actual code that registers for it. I have another project that I was working on that actually does this. So first of all, you need to import from a React native, you need to import this native event emitter and the native modules. And then what I did is sorry, I'm reading this code right now. Okay, so this is native methods. So what this would look like so this is, again, this is for another app, but what this would look like here would be, you need to import the native event emitter and the node modules, native modules, and then you can pull out your module that you're actually exporting. So like in this case, it would be, let's see. Here, what I'll do is I'll actually open the actual project. So let's let me get out of this. I'm gonna leave this up here for reference, but if we were to go to this app.js file, so this is in the actual project that we've been working in, that we made with the Create React Native app. I don't know why that is so hard for me to say. So what you could do here, I like Sublime Text a lot. I'm gonna buy it. Such a good app, you should definitely invest in it. Native event emitter, right? And then something like that over here. So this is actually documented in the React Native stuff, pretty sure, right here. Yeah. But just to show you, I could say in the constructor maybe. So this would not be native methods, this would be Swift Event Emitter. And then we can just do test, and then we can log it right here. We'll log that, so we can save it and go back. I'm going to look at that one more time. So when this gets instantiated, it brings in this, which is undefined. So equals native. Okay, so this is a React Native thing, which is what all of this stuff is about. This Objective-C stuff. And then that Objective-C helps bridge over, or that Objective-C tag tells the compiler to expose that over to Objective-C, and then React Native actually uses Objective-C to export the modules to be able to be used by React Native. Let's see. So this has the okay, that's fine. Create the event, get the subscription to that particular event that was just created. And a good thing to do is on component did will unmount would be to say this dot subscription one dot remove. I think that's what they told it to do. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I can run it and see. Well, let's check this. Okay, yeah, that should work, and everything should fire there. Basically, what you cannot do is you cannot do something like this. Is say, create an instance like that, and then say my instance dot send event to JS. This would not work because you need to let React Native create these instances of the classes, and I was used to using like a singleton pattern, and yep, turned out that it wasn't something you could do. That's why I had the biggest problem with it, I think, is because I was used to making instance methods like this and then calling it like that, and I was expecting this to just work and to be able to do the self dot send event, the with name stuff, if you inherited from that React event emitter, which I could not get to work again. I know I've said like 18 times, but this is my solution. Basically, now what you can do is you would have like if this function is called on the class, like imagine that there is a delegate that had some protocol that you had to conform to, is how you would do it. Maybe it was like button was pressed. Imagine that there was a button was pressed function that was off of this protocol, or off of this delegate class that you're, or whatever that you're inheriting from. I don't know, you're adapting the protocol. If you don't understand what I'm trying to say, look up delegates and protocols, but basically if this is the protocol that you're conforming to that's off of this delegate, this is the actual method you would export to sense the event. This is the craziest thing that got me. So instead of using like that singleton pattern and thinking about, oh, inside of this method I'm wanting to do that send event thing like this off of an instance method, it's not going to work. What you would have to do is, conform to that protocol, and you would say objc, and then, expose it to Objective-C so React Native can export it to your modules. And then what you can do is, this whole number right here that I cooked up, you would get the bridge. I mean, it's not the best thing because it's deprecated, but honestly, it's working, and I've spent enough time on this problem. So yeah, that's what you would do. You would get the bridge and then dispatch it, but that would be, so any function that needs to send the event would have to do this. It would have to, export itself essentially. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna finish the project. I was just wanting to put a video out there that kind of went over bridging Objective-C, because I mean you are truly using Objective-C here with Swift, and then you're able to use the Swift functions to send events to JavaScript. Yep, so that's exactly how I'm doing it in the app that I'm using, and it's working fine. So thanks for watching. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. Good luck on your app development days. Happy hacking, and God bless.